Hello everybody and welcome to part 7 of my video sailing course. In this video I explain how to tack with a sailboat. Everything I show in this video you also find in my book Learn to Sail with Captain Sailnator. There I describe everything very comprehensively step by step and explain a few more tips and tricks that I could unfortunately not show in this video. You find a link to the book in the video description. Disclaimer: this video is not meant as a solo teaching aid. It is intended as a supplement to a sailing course. Never go on board a sailboat without an experienced sailor, or rather only under the supervision of a licensed sailing instructor. Thank you very much. In the 4 previous videos we sailed all points of sail on one side of the wind. We bore away from close hauled via close reach to beam reach, bore further away to broad reach and then to downwind. As I said, only on one side of the wind. But there are the same points of sail on the other side of the wind. But how do we get there? There are 2 maneuvers. One option would be to go through the wind with the stern. That would be the jibe. A link to the respective video can be found in the video description. Or we sail on a close hauled and turn the bow through the wind to the opposite close hauled. That is called tacking. So what I explain in this video is how to tack from close hauled to the opposite close hauled. And from there we can bear away on the other side of the wind via close reach to beam reach and from there to broad reach and to downwind. By tacking we turn the bow through the wind and then can sail all points of sail on the other side of the wind too. So we tack from close hauled through the wind to the opposite close hauled. But to do so we have to find close hauled first. How did that work again? We haul the sails as far as the boom head is above the lee corner of the stern and the jib is hauled as far as possible. Now we head up till the jib starts to flutter. Then we bear away until the jib fills with wind again. Then we put the tiller immediately back to the middle and keep course. Now we have found close hauled. Now the helmsman wants to tack and asks the crew, "Ready to tack?" The crew checks if he is ready for the maneuver. He takes the windward jib sheet into his hand because he has to pull the jib to the other side in a few moments. Then he looks out windward of the boat because the boat will turn to this area. He checks if the space the boat will turn to is clear or if there are any obstacles. When he is ready and there is no obstacle in the way, he says "ready," but only if everything is really clear. The helmsman announces with the command "tacking" or "helms alee" or "hard alee" that he now will start to tack. He now pushes the tiller as far as possible. The bow turns to the direction of the wind. Then the bow turns into the wind and the jib flutters. Shortly thereafter, the wind blows into the jib from the other side. At that moment the helmsman says "release jib sheet" and then the crew releases the former leeward sheet and pulls the jib to the other side. That's when the boom flies to the other side too, and then the helmsman dives through under the boom. By doing so the boat keeps turning. The helmsman arrives on the other side and at the moment where the jib and the mainsail fill with wind again, the boat reaches close hauled. Then the helmsman has to put the tiller back to the middle and that way he can continue sailing close hauled. That was the principle of tacking, but there are 2 more things attention should be paid to. What often happens to beginners by tacking is, we push the tiller away from us, then the bow turns towards the wind and the boom moves to the middle. The jib flutters and the helmsman dives through under the boom. At this moment he puts the tiller back to the middle. Then we are head up to wind and tacking does not work anymore. And then we ask ourselves why the bow is not turning anymore. And the reason is that the tiller was already set too early back to the middle and the boat cannot turn through the wind. Another problem that may arise: we start to tack, the helmsman dives through under the boom, leaves the tiller where it belongs, but the crew pulls the jib too early to the other side. Then the wind is coming already from here into the jib and it blows into it from behind. The jib gets backwind, which builds up pressure. So the boat cannot turn through the wind or will be even pushed back. Therefore the helmsman has always to look forward during the turnaround. Even when he arrives on the other side, he has to look forward to see the sails at this moment. And when the wind comes into the jib from the other side, he says to the crew, "Release sheet." This way he also sees when the wind comes into the mainsail again. Right now he has to put the tiller back to the middle. All that he cannot do when he turns his back to the bow while tacking. In my book Learn to Sail with Captain Sailnator, I describe step by step how the helmsman can manage to always look forward during tacking, and that without getting tangled in the main sheet and getting into the danger of turning his back to the bow. I recommend to read it there before you start to practice tacking. You find a link to the book in the video description. Finally, I show tacking in a quick review. We are sailing on a close halt and the helmsman commands, "Ready for tacking?" The crew takes the windward sheet. He looks around and says, "Ready." The helmsman says, "Tacking," and pushes the tiller away from him. The bow turns towards the wind, the jib starts to flutter, and the boom moves to the middle. While the sail moves, the helmsman dives through under the boom to the other side. He still leaves the tiller where he initially pushed it. When the wind comes into the other side of the jib, he says something like "release sheet" or "trim sail." Now the mainsail also gets wind. The helmsman notices that close halt has been reached and puts the tiller back to the middle. Now he says, "Sailing close halt." Everything I show in this video you also find in my book, Learn to Sail with Captain Sailnator. There I describe everything very comprehensively step by step and explain a few more tips and tricks that I could unfortunately not show in this video. In the next video I will explain beating. You can find a link to the video in the video description. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to the channel so you will not miss the next video. You also find a link to my book in the video description below. It is written in a way that you can prepare yourself for your next sailing lesson with the respective chapter and then repeat everything you learned afterwards. The book is also available in a colored version and as ebook, and book and ebook are great to prepare yourself for a sailing course and also to read during the course about what you are just doing. It is written in a practical way and I think your sailing instructor will explain everything in a very similar way, and after reading the book you will understand him better and faster, and then you will even learn to sail faster. A link to the book can be found in the video description. I self-published the book and I would be glad if you buy it and support me as an independent author. Thank you very much.